So before we start the video, I just want to mention that you can get access to over 1,000 medical and USMLE multiple choice questions on our website. New questions are added weekly, so just click the link in the description below to get instant access to them. Red blood cells are small cells with a flat biconcave disc shape. They are 8 micrometers in diameter and they don't contain a nucleus. They have a pliable shape so they can adapt and travel through very small blood vessels called capillaries. They are made in the bone marrow through the differentiation of a hematopoietic stem cell, and they have a life cycle of around 120 days. Red blood cells contain hemoglobin, which is a structure containing iron. Hemoglobin binds oxygen in the lungs, and then the red blood cell travels via the bloodstream to release this oxygen to cells around the body. So red blood cells are essential for transporting oxygen to cells, and if there is a problem with red blood cell production, or if there is a reduced amount of red blood cells, then the cells of the body would get less oxygen if there is no compensation for it. This is the basis of anemia. So anemia is defined as a condition where there are reduced levels of red blood cells, or a reduced ability by the red blood cells to carry oxygen. The general symptoms of anemia are fatigue, tiredness, muscle weakness, and dizziness. If it is not treated, the symptoms can become more severe and the patient can experience chest pain, tachycardia, which is where we have a very fast beating heart, palpitations, and shortness of breath. Anemia is diagnosed using a complete blood count test, and according to the World Health Organization, a man is diagnosed with anemia if he has a hemoglobin level of less than 130 grams per litre, and for women it's less than 120 grams per litre. The hormone responsible for regulating red blood cell production is called erythropoietin, and it's produced mainly by the kidneys. When we have low levels of oxygen, erythropoietin production is increased. Erythropoietin binds onto a receptor called the erythropoietin receptor, which is present on erythroid progenitor cells in the bone marrow. This stimulates the cell to differentiate into red blood cells. So we need all of this information to understand how several types of anemia work. Anemia can often occur as a symptom of an underlying disease, so the treatment of anemia is also dependent on treating the underlying disease causing it. So we're going to discuss 5 types of anemia, and I'm going to do my best to explain them as simply as possible, but each of the causes are still quite complex, so I'll probably make a separate video on each one. So let's begin. The first type we're going to talk about is the most common form of anemia, and it's known as iron-deficiency anemia. Since iron is an essential component of hemoglobin, and it's stored in complexes called ferritin, if there isn't enough iron and ferritin, then red blood cell production becomes abnormal since there isn't enough iron for hemoglobin. This type of anemia can occur in cases of chronic blood loss, like during the menstrual cycle, if the patient has hemorrhoids or a peptic ulcer in the stomach. It can also occur during pregnancy when there is an increased demand of iron for fetal hemoglobin production. That's hemoglobin for the fetus. The second type we're going to discuss is called pernicious anemia, and this is due to a lack of vitamin B12. So vitamin B12 is involved in DNA synthesis in the process of red blood cell production. So low amounts of vitamin B12 can lead to large and fragile red blood cells which carry less oxygen and have a lower life cycle. Vitamin B12 deficiency mainly results from a lack of intrinsic factor, which is produced by the parietal cells of the stomach. Intrinsic factor is important for the absorption of vitamin B12 in the ileum of the small intestine. The third type we're going to talk about is sickle-cell anemia, and this is where the body makes C-shaped red blood cells instead of the flat biconcave disc-shaped red blood cells. Sickle-cell anemia is an inherited genetic condition, and the abnormal red blood cells carry less oxygen, they are more fragile, and have a life cycle of around 10 to 15 days instead of 120. Thalassemia is another type of anemia which is also inherited. Hemoglobin, which is inside red blood cells, contains 2 alpha peptide chains and 2 beta peptide chains. With thalassemia, there's a defect in either the alpha chains or the beta chains of the hemoglobin. So from this we can have alpha thalassemia or beta thalassemia depending on which chain has been affected. There are different types of thalassemia with varying severity, but bone deformities, enlarged spleen, and slowed growth can also occur alongside those with thalassemia. Hemolytic anemia involves an abnormal breakdown of red blood cells or their precursors. It can be hereditary or acquired, and examples of the hereditary form include sickle-cell anemia, which we mentioned, thalassemia, and a pyruvate kinase deficiency. The acquired form of hemolytic anemia can occur in cases of enlarged spleen, lead poisoning, autoimmune conditions, and certain infections like malaria.